Hey everybody, Jeff Reinhart here, LMP and Lancaster Online. Welcome into week two of the LL League The Huddle football podcast. Brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. Okay, week one in the books. Holy cow, you go through your whole summer and you can't wait for football, and whammo, 1 week in, week two up next. A couple things, couple notes from week one, then we'll jump into week two. I'll give you quick hitters and picks. But these are the things that stood out to me in week one. Very intriguing week in week one. Warwick, what a comeback for the Warriors, trailing Cocalico 14-0 in the second half. Warwick comes all the way back, 17 unanswered. Tyler Schofstall, freshman, welcome to the show. Kid, 22-yard field goal with 5 minutes left. Puts Warwick ahead for good. Warriors stun Cocalico. Heck of a game, 17-14. Warwick 1-0. Eagles, reigning District 3-5A champs, 0-1, back to the drawing board. 3 shutout wins in week one. Tip of the cap, Cedar Crest, Conestoga Valley, Donegal all get week one shutout wins. Well done to those defensive players. Twin Valley put up the most yards in week one. Holy cow. Raiders had 619, 619 against Schuylkill Valley, 44-13 win for the Raiders. 619. Holy moly. Tyler Shuey, Hamburg quarterback, have a night. 10 for 14, 356 yards, 4 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs. Wow. Ty Worley for Hamburg, 5 catches, 253 yards, 4 touchdown catches. Hawks soar past Halifax. Great start for them. 5 running backs in week one had 200 rushing yards. Bryce Keller, Anvil Cleona had 208. Jake Williams, Elko had 234 on just 8 carries with 4 touchdown runs and a 90-yard kickoff return for another score. Jake. Evan Johnson, 251 rushing yards for Twin Valley. Braden Brown, 205 for Ephrata. And Bryson Armold, last year's LL rushing champ, had 256 yards for the Barons in their win over Westchester East. And I apologize, they also had a shutout. Crest, CV, Donegal, and Manheim Central had shutout wins in week one. Okay, week two, busy slate. 27 games this week, 4 on Thursday, 22 on Friday, and a Saturday morning game for a trophy. Okay, Thursday games first. Cedar Crest at CD East. Crest guesses up the bus and goes to Harrisburg, coming off a shutout win. CD East put up nearly 400 yards and beat Reading in week one. I'm going to go home team here. Panthers over Falcons. Garden Spot at Lebanon. I will be at this game on Thursday night. Garden Spot, great week one. Throttled Conrad Weiser. Only gave up a field goal. Lebanon lost to Palmyra. Gave up 51 points. That's 23 straight losses for Lebanon. They're trying. Tough one here against Garden Spot on Thursday night. I'll go Spartans over Cedars. Great game here. Anvil Cleona at Elko, a couple of backyard rivals, both coming off wins. Both have a back that went over 200 yards last week. Elko's won 4 in a row in the series, but I'm going to go Anvil here. Like what they have up front, like their trench guys, like their defense. I think if Anvil can win the trenches here, I think they can get out of Dodge with a win. So I'll go Dutchman over Raiders. Upper Perk at Schuylkill Valley. Last of the 4 Thursday games. Both teams coming off losses, and Schuylkill Valley got singed last week against Twin Valley. Gave up 600-plus yards. Upper Perk won this game last year, but you know what? I'm going to go home team here. Schuylkill Valley still has big goals. They want to be in the Section 5 race. They want to get back to the playoffs. I think they'll have a better effort here. So I'm going to go Schuylkill Valley over Upper Perk. Friday games, gas up the bus, Manheim Central. I'm actually going to this in Wilmington, Delaware. Manheim Central against Smyrna. I have a ton about Smyrna on the page this week. If you want a deep dive on the Indians, they're the reigning 3A state Delaware champ, and they were in the finals the year before. Good program, but the Barons are kind of on a different level here. Torched Westchester East last week. 200-yard rusher. Zach Hahn was 13 for 14 for over 200 passing yards. Barron's offense is scorching. They take a business trip to Delaware and get the job done. Barron's over Smyrna. Executive Education Academy Charter, that's a mouthful, out of Allentown at Berks Catholic. EE, tough team, only the third year of varsity football for that program, but they always find ways to win. Berks Catholic had a great first week. Didn't win at Loyalsock, but really hung with a state-ranked team and only lost 25-21. Good start for them, but I'm going to go Executive Education. These guys just find ways to win out of District 11. Raptors over Saints. Hempfield at York. Hempfield gutted one out last week, beat Dallastown late, trailed the whole night. Got a TD keeper from Jackson Landis with 30 seconds to go and squeaked past Dallastown. Good start for them. York lost to Harrisburg in its opener. Cougars put up 50. I'll go Hempfield here. I think they find a way again. May not be pretty for them all year, but the Black Knights will be there at the tape, I promise. Hempfield over York. Manheim Township at Dallastown. Dallastown shoulda, coulda beat Hempfield in week 1. Didn't. Manheim Township mercy ruled Cumberland Valley. Notable Township quarterback Hayden Johnson, who's going to Lehigh, needs 79 passing yards for 5,000 in his career. He'd be the fourth Township quarterback to hit 5,000. 79 yards for Mr. Johnson. I'll take the Streaks. They're really good. McCaskey at E-Town, both teams coming off losses. Bears did not score last week. They got shut out by Donegal. I'm going to go E-Town at home. This is a coin toss pick'em kind of a game, but I'll go Bears over Tornado. LS at Penn Manor, nice little backyard rivalry game. Pioneers gas up the bus and go over to Millersville, coming off a 45-7 win to get the milk jug back from Solanco. Their defense was really good. Penn Manor got shut out. Pioneers over Comets. Muhlenberg at Reading. It's the Battle of the Border trophy game. Reading leads that series 10-9. Reading won last year. Both teams lost in week 1. Muhlenberg dropped a gut punch in overtime against Octorara. Reading lost to CD East and gave up 50-plus points. I'm going to go Reading here at home, like what they have up front, and flashed a pretty good passing game last week against CD East. So I'll go Red Knights over Mules. Wow. District 3 heavyweight game, Central Dauphin at Wilson. Any other year, this is like the game to watch. This is the 5-star game of the week. But the Rams and the Bulldogs are both coming off losses. CD lost to Central York. That Jules Groff kid for Central York rushed for 300 yards and 6 touchdowns. Wow. Against the Rams. Wilson lost down in Philly against Roman Catholic. I'm going to go Bulldogs here, and I wrote this. Wilson always seems to find a way in these kind of games. Some adversity, some injuries, 0-1, but they're at home with still a lot of huge expectations and a lot still on the table for Wilson. So I'll go Bulldogs over Rams. Conestoga Valley at Daniel Boone. Bucks coming off a shutout win. Hello. Daniel Boone fell to Exeter in the Pig Iron Bowl last week. I'll go Buckskins. I'll ride their defense for another week. CV over Boone. Exeter at Boyertown. As mentioned, Eagles beat Daniel Boone last week to win back the Pig Iron Bowl. Exeter picked up where it left off last year. Some new kids, yes, but they really took care of business against Boone. Boyertown's pretty tough, and they can score. They won last week, and they have a running back named Yasavage, who rushed for a tick under 300 and 5 touchdowns last week against Upper Perk. He's pretty good. Love Exeter here, though. I know they got to go on the road, but big things ahead for the Eagles. They're going to be there again. Exeter over Boyertown. Carlisle at Governor Mifflin. Mifflin lost to Spring Ford. Tricky opener down on the road, down in Royers Ford. Not totally sure what Carlisle has. I don't know where they're going to fare in the mid-pen. But I think Mifflin kind of makes a statement here because they want to be players and get back in Section 2 this year. So I'm going to take Mifflin here. Mustangs over the Thundering Herd. George Mail Trophy game. Ephrata at Warwick. As mentioned, Warwick, awesome win in week 1. Rallies past Cogalico. 17 unanswered second-half points. Trevor Evans had a good night throwing the ball. 2 second-half touchdown passes. Schofstall kicks the game-winning field goal. Tons of mo for Warwick. Ephrata wins in week 1. They beat Red Lion 34-32. Brown rushed for 200. Sam McCracken passed. Did he pass for 200? A little over 200. Good balance offense attack for Ephrata, and they win. Ephrata won this game last year. Pried the Mail Trophy back for the first time in 15 games. So Warwick has dominated this series. Tons of mo for both sides, so I'll go home team. This one could be close, but I'm going to take Warwick over Ephrata. Conrad Weiser at Fleetwood. Not much went right for Conrad Weiser last week. They rushed for 20 yards against Garnspot, so they're looking to get untracked. Fleetwood picked off Kutztown in a rivalry game. They won the Hall of Fame trophy and put up a bunch of crooked numbers. Zion Brickle had a good game running the ball. Riffle was good through the air. Weiser has dominated this series 13-1, but I think Fleetwood has the goods to make it 13-2. I'm going to go Tigers over Scouts. Solanco at Cocalico, rematch of last year's District 3 5A semifinals, which Cocalico won. Both teams kind of humbled in week 1. Cocalico had that lead, couldn't slam the door. Solanco lost, gave up 45 points to LS and the Milk Jug. I'm going to go Cocalico at home here. I think Coach Stroll's going to have their attention from the get-go. Monday afternoon practice. I think the Eagles rebound here and get the dub. Cocalico over Solanco. Twin Valley will play Lower Dolphin at Hershey Park Stadium, Concrete Palace. That's where LD plays its home games. Twin Valley, as mentioned, 619 yards, a ton on the ground in a win over Schuylkill Valley. LD won 45-zip over Middletown. Don't forget, Middletown's back on the field this year after having their program suspended a year ago because of that hazing incident. So a quick start for both teams, but I'm going to go Twin Valley here. That line up front, obviously fabulous in week 1. With a lot of weapons coming out of the backfield. Raiders over Falcons. Donegal at York Suburban, rematch of last year's District 3 4A first-round game. York Suburban won that game. Lost last week. Donegal coming off a shutout win. So Anthony Sodasante, tip of the cap. First game for him as head coach, back at his alma mater, and they get a shutout over their backyard rivals. Hello. I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'll go Donegal here. I think the Indians go to 2-0. Donegal over York Suburban. Couple more on Friday night. Wyomissing at Pottsville. Last time these teams are going to play. Nice rivalry game. It's always played at Pottsville. Wyo gives up a home game every year to go play over at Pottsville up on the hill in a really cool stadium. But Pottsville had to drop the Spartans next year because of scheduling conflicts. Wyo's terrific. 56 points in week 1 over Kennardale. Wow. 15 kids touched the ball out of the backfield, and they had 500-plus yards. Spartans going to win here. Wyo over the Crimson Tide. Hanover at Columbia. Head-scratcher start for the Tide. Had 56 total yards last week. In a loss against Eastern York, Hanover did lose to Invo-Cleona, but did some stuff, had some yards, scored some touchdowns. So I'm going to go Hanover here. Columbia still finding itself. Nighthawks over Tide. Hamburg at Warrior Run. Enjoy that bus ride. As mentioned, Shuey had a huge game in week 1 for Hamburg. Oh, by the way, the Hawks scored 75 points last year against Warrior Run. Don't know if they'll get 75 again, but I think they will win. Hawks over the Defenders. York Tech at Kutztown. York Tech won last week, beat James Buchanan, snapped a 9-game losing streak, and York Tech won this game last year. But I like Kutztown here. I know they didn't do a whole heck of a lot last week against Fleetwood in the Hall of Fame game, but still like their rushing attack. Still like them up front, and they're at home. And I'll go home team. Kutztown over York Tech. DeLone Catholic at Lancaster Catholic. Crusaders picked up where they left off. RJ Gonzalez scored 3 touchdowns, and they were just fine and dandy in their win over York Catholic. And I think the Crusaders keep on keeping on here in their home opener. So I'll go Lancaster Catholic over the Squires. Last Friday night game, Susquehanna Township out of Mid-Penn will go to Fredericksburg and take on Northern Lebanon. Both teams coming off tough losses. Hannah lost to Milton Hershey, coughed up a fourth-quarter lead, and lost by a couple of points. Northern Lebanon loses in overtime against Pine Grove. I'm going to go Hannah here. Couple of too many athletes perhaps for Northern Lebanon to keep up with, but this could be a close game, and I still think the Vikings will be heard from in the not so distant future, but I'll go Hannah over Northern Lebanon. Lastly, Saturday morning, bright and early in At Glen, I'll see you there. Pequay Valley at Octorara in the Braves Bowl. Bummer news. This will be the last Braves Bowl for the time being. The schools decided to drop this game. It's a bummer for the kids. Octorara leads at 10-3. These schools are 8 miles apart. It's disappointing that this will go away for at least the next 2-year cycle. Octorara, OT win, Braden Wood, go-ahead touchdown and 2-point run and the fumble recovery on the goal line. Octorara beats Muhlenberg. Pequay Valley loses to Biglerville 14-7, but did some good things. Rushed for 200-plus yards, which is a good sign for that O-line and their backs. But I'm going to go Octorara here at home with some really good mo coming off an overtime win. So I'll go Octorara over Pequay Valley. CD East, Garden Spot, Anvil Cleona, Schuylkill Valley, Manheim Central, Executive Education, Hempfield, Manheim Township, E-Town, LS, Reading, Wilson. Conestoga Valley, Exeter, Mifflin, Warwick, Fleetwood, Cocalico, Twin Valley, Donegal, Wyo, Hanover, Hamburg, Kutztown, Lancaster Catholic, Hannah, and Octorara are the week 2 picks. There it is. Okay. Busy week, obviously. 4 Thursday games, 22 Friday games, and a Saturday morning game. I'll see you Thursday night in Lebanon for Garden Spot Cedars. I'll see you Friday in Delaware for a 3:30 kick, Manheim Central and Smyrna. And I'll see you Saturday morning in At Glen for the Braves Bowl, Pequay Valley and Octorara. Keep it on the page for all LL League football stuff, the daily 3 Facts post, the game stories, the podcast, the video show, all the Friday night scores and roundups and stats, everything. So keep it on Lancaster Online for that, and stay tuned for all of our coverage from week 2. Busy week, but a fun week. A lot of cool games. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you for Auto House for sponsoring the Huddle this year, the Huddle podcast. And I will catch you guys for week 3. Enjoy your Labor Day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.